Hello everyone and welcome back to Whisky Wednesday. I have a question for all of you. Do you like Spiringbank? The answer is probably yes. I do as well, but it is hard to get. Even with distillery capacity increasing, there's going to be a couple of years till we see the output of that. And even then, it's probably going to sell out again and again and again and again and again and again. So I ask all of you, nearly 10,000 people, who watch this channel, why aren't we all just drinking this? Now, I don't mean this bottle specifically, although this is the whiskey we will be reviewing, but as a whole, why aren't we all drinking Benromach as a beautiful, very close Spiringbank alternative? You could argue that their 10-year-old, Benromach's 10-year-old, is only 43%, whereas Spiringbank's 10-year-old is 46%. Their 10-year-old, Benromach's, is £40 a bottle. Spiringbank's now is edging into maybe 60-ish, and isn't available. That's a point I can't stress enough. Now, this isn't Spiringbank's fault, and this video isn't meant to be a rant about Spiringbank, because there's enough of those already. But all I'm saying is, there are other distilleries which do whiskies which are very similar, and they deserve a shot. They deserve to be given a shot from every single one of us, because we are self-designated whiskey fans, and we should try as much as possible. This is Benromach Cara Gold. Cara Gold is a very specific type of malted barley, or it's a specific type of barley. In this case, it's been lightly roasted and filled into first fill bourbon casks of 46% alcohol, no chill filtering, no colouring, beautiful colour. Let me try and get out of the way of that. It's a very kind of opaque gold colour. I have already reviewed this with the wonderful gentleman that is John, at John Drinks. His video will be below. We filmed that in the shop where I work. And I'm redoing this video because this thing's got better. In John's video, I'd say we felt it was a good whiskey. There's like a little bit of my hair that's like sticking out here. I thought the joy of going bald was losing your hair, and it's not happening. I'll do it like this. In that video, I'd say that we were both a little critical of the whiskey, but it's been open for a bit longer, and I will say it has got quite incredible. Very small writing too. This is an 11-year-old. Just in very small writing. Benromach only use first fill casks. Everything is lightly peated, and I retried their 10-year-old about 4 days ago. With a new colleague of mine, and just lovely, just really good whiskey. 15's very good. Haven't tried the 21, would love to try the 40. Would probably like harm someone in order to try the 40-year-old. Apologies if you hear any excess noise, it has just started raining very heavily where I am. But here we go, it's in the glass. Again, that's beautiful colour. It's very light, but it's beautiful. There is almost, I don't know if that's the glass, but there's almost like a slight green tinge at the bottom of it, but it's nice and golden. Let's smell, let's taste, let's chat Benromach. Now, this is a whiskey where I was kind of, I'm not normally susceptible to marketing emails. I normally just kind of delete a lot of them. But as soon as I saw different barley variety, first fill American oak, young, like a bit smoky, you kind of got my interest, so I bought it. It arrived when I was still on holiday in February, and when this video comes out it will be June. So it's been open for quite a while. It's been open since February, and it has taken a while to get interesting, I will say. But the nose on it is full of those tropical fruit things. It is very much like pineapple chunks and melon and slightly mango-y. As soon as your nose picks up one of these fruity notes, it kind of peels back and gives you a little bit of smoke. Slightly ashy, slightly minerally smoke, but not medicinal in any way. There's a nice coastalness to it as well. It's not I wouldn't class it as a coastal distillery, but there's a nice kind of salt and pepper feel to it. And then one of the things which always throws me is every time I look at this part of the label, the slightly kind of blonde tanned bit, it reminds me very much of like caramel in Caramac bars. I don't get anything on it now like that. When I first opened it, it was quite toffee, caramelly sort of style. But I don't really get any of that now. It's been sort of dominated by these nice tropical fruit notes and this smokiness, this slightly savoury seasoning, salt and pepper smell. But it has all the notes that you would want from a Campbelltown without being intensely smoky or particularly dark in colour, but it fits all the other profiles. Let's taste it. It's changed again. First arrival, nice and sweet. Follows on from the nose. Instead of being exotic, it's more just your classic kind of apple, pear. Just light and quite refreshing. Very approachable. There is a twist in the taste, and it's probably when it's been in your mouth for about 5 seconds. A bit of spice starts to roll in. Backing up that kind of peppery, salty thing. It's slightly drying. And it comes in like this little wave. For me, it came from the right side of my mouth to the left-hand side of my mouth. And then as you go to swallow the product, the smoke comes in. And texturally, it reminds me quite a lot of Ardbeg. It's quite oily. The smoke is pretty interesting too. It tastes a lot smokier than it smells, certainly on the finish. Yep, there's that pepper again, there's the salt. And then that ashy kind of backdraft of smoke. It's really good. Like really, really good. This was £47. Let's get this up to the camera so you can actually see it a little bit better, rather than just my face. But yeah, 47 quid. And I love the back of the bottle. It's got that nice kind of embossing on the bottle. The Benromach distillery. It is a limited edition in the sense that they've only developed so much of it as part of the Contrast range. But I tried their 2008 cask strength sherry barrel last year. Tried a Whisky Shop exclusive Benromach single cask, which literally blew me away at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like being at the brim of an explosion, that whiskey. And the 15 I've always thought is an underrated gem, and I'm yet to own a bottle. But it was retrying this after retrying Benromach 10 the other night, where I was like, this deserves an in-depth review, and it deserves quite a lot of your attention. So for any of you that haven't paid attention to Benromach, whether or not you are a fan of the new Soviet bloc font, even if you preferred the older font with that Tipex kind of angled style, the whiskey's still very good. So I would encourage you all to try it. This is the contradictory part of it, or the hypocritical part of it for me. Excuse me. I gave Spiringbank 10, I think it was the 2020, my god, sorry, keep burping. I think it was the 2020 release. I gave it a 9 or even a 9.5. At this point in the recording, I'm too lazy to go and look at it. But it was a high score. And I actually said that that's my favourite bottle of the range. And it is, in the same way that like 10-year-old Van Winkle is my favourite of the range, but I can't afford that and I can't find it either. like young whiskey. It's always very tasty. This is going to get a slightly lower score. It's going to get an 8.5. But prior to that, I probably only would have given it an 8 when I first opened it. Now, 8.5 is still a very respectable score. It is still a whiskey which I would say deserves all of your attention. It's roughly the same score as the 10-year-old that I've given it personally, but this is higher alcohol and it uses a slightly more unusual type of barley, and it's purely first fill bourbon. And it's only an 11-year-old product, so it's not going to jump out the rafts at you. If you put this next to that Glen Scotia that I reviewed last week, the Glen Scotia destroys it, but that again is a limited edition, one-time release product. This is too, but it's doing a softer thing. But overall, 8.5 out of 10. Pay attention to Benromach. Start looking at Benromach, start tasting Benromach, start sampling it in a bar, start splitting a bottle between friends. It is worth your time. And with all whiskies, please allow them to just relax in the bottle for a bit and just see what they do. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I've been Phil. This is Whisky Wednesday. That's the Benromach Contrasts Cara Gold Malt. It's an 8.5 out of 10, and I will see you all next week. Cheers.